Welcome back to Morning Express. We're glad you're watching. About to have a very important discussion this morning about a cultural practice that sees very many young girls suffer, and it's an illegal practice. But now we are seeing hundreds of women coming out to protest the same, and more than 100 Maasai women in Kajiado took to the streets with sticks and screams to defend the culture of female circumcision. They claim the number of unmarried women has increased sharply following the ban on female genital mutilation.
Wasichana ni lazima kwa ajili hakuna uwezo kupata kijana anachukua msichana hajatahiriwa kwa kimila yetu. Hata nyinyi wa Kikuyu hata ndani anatahiri tu. Siangalia sisi naona tu sisi nafanga machuka kama nyinyi kama saa hii tu na uwezo kujua mambo. Kiangalia mimi ni ex-police ni anajua tu nimetahiriwa watu. Naonga wana mkono watoto atahiriwe. Ilikuwa na wasichana mbele lakini ametahiriwa zamani imeenda. Wacha waandamane. Kwa ajili sisi aliamusha imejamusha wenyewe.
Sasa iko na hiyo shida wasichana. Tunataka kutahiriwa wasichana wetu. Wengi kabla hujatahiriwa hujapata wase. Unakaa tu nyumbani kusaa, hakuna mahali unaenda. Sasa sisi unasema kiwa Maasai mama lazima wasichana wetu watahiriwe. Ndio wapate mwelekeo wa masomo, ndio wapate bwana. Usikae nyumbani kusaa, hakuna mahali utapeleka. Kwa sababu namwambia nyinyi ama unaomba serikali opee sisi ruhusa nifanye kazi yetu. Wasichana yetu kuna shida sana. Kwa sababu ukikaa nyumbani bila kutahiriwa apati mzee asoni unakuja tu kukaa nyumbani. Na tena unasaa nyumbani kabla hujatahiriwa hakuna mtu unasakaribia yeye kuwa na hiyo shida akusaa. Kwa sababu hiyo damu ni mbaya sana kwetu.
Wow, and those are the sentiments of those that are pro-female genital mutilation. It was banned, it's illegal in Kenya, but the one that reversed, despite the fact that many girls have died from the cut. And joining me in studio this morning to talk more about this is Jebii Kilimo. She is the board chair of Kenya's anti-FGM parastatal, and we thank you for joining us today. Hearing what they have to say, let's start there first. Does that shock you in this day and age after all the efforts that have gone into fighting FGM?
Well, Sophia, as it is said, ignorance is very expensive. They don't know the dangers, these people, and they don't seem to know beyond their boundaries that there is something like education. Right. To them, it's marriage which counts. But to the current world, it's education which matters most.
Right.
And I feel that somebody somewhere has not really is misadvising these people to hold on to their culture. And for them to complain that there are several unmarried girls, maybe it's just within their locality, because I understand it, they come from a place called Enkorika. That's what we had yesterday. So it's not the whole of Maasai, in fact, it's just a small village where they've noticed. So what they should be talking about is what can they do to empower their girls with knowledge so that they make informed choices, so they don't get children at home. You see, they're complaining that they're getting children at home and they're staying at home. It means then for them to just stay around and get babies at home is because they were not, there was nothing to keep them busy.
Right.
They were not in school. They should be able to know that the current world people are pursuing higher goals than just that one of getting married.
Yeah.
Yes.
But talk to us, let's backtrack a little bit about this culture and its root and its meaning for these people and why they hold it so close and dear to them.
I understand from some stories that the Maasais, that one day they went to look after their animals because they are pastoralists. And when they came back, they overslept. And when they woke up here at 2 p.m. the next day and the animals had gone or something like that. I mean, they are just meats. There is nothing about it. They have funny meats that maybe the one you see uncircumcised, when you help to deliver an uncircumcised woman, something happens to you or something like that. And the worst is the fact that they say you're not complete or you have not been cleansed to be married, so that you're married. What I want to tell them is that you're not even being cleansed. In fact, they're making you dirty, because after that circumcision, your clothes, so much is closed inside. So it means you're closing more dirt inside you than when it was just coming out completely. So it's just myths that are not confirmed. And what I want to tell them is for the abandonment of FGM, for the campaign to abandon FGM, it has been scientifically proven that it has no value. It adds no value to the women folk, while theirs is just a myth that has not been researched. And we live in a world where we want reasons why. We want to be told why that is happening. People want to know if there is a research or numbers, what is happening. But because of lack of education, they don't seem to know. And the inability to see what is happening, the challenges that women get down the line when they are now women, they are not able to relate that to an action that was done to them maybe 10, 20 years down the line during circumcision. So they've not seen the challenges that happens, and marrying the two will really help them to abandon this. To abandon
the practice. And we'll have our phone numbers on your screen. You can call us and be part of our conversation this morning. Share your views, because Madam Kilimo, the challenge is to have seen that there's been so many efforts put in place to ensure that this process, this practice is read in the community. Why is it, despite this work, that we're still talking about it in modern-day Kenya? How come the work and the efforts that have been put in have not bore fruit? Because you have been in this fight, you're running, you're the chair in charge of this anti-FGM parastatal. Why isn't that enough?
Let me deviate a bit to that human persons are made of two. We have the spirit you and we have the physical you.
Right.
Most communities who have abandoned FGM, like the Kambas who used to do, like the Kikuyus, the Nandis, and some Tugen, you will find that they won because the church got in and talked to them. So we still find those who, even among the communities who still practice, like the Maasais or even the Marakwet community where I come from, those who have embraced Christianity have abandoned the cut. So it has to be like a change from inside. Well, needless to say, we cannot ask everybody to become a Christian, but I'm saying that those who have embraced a different way of life, the Christian way of life, seem to have abandoned FGM. Those who are still holding on to their tradition, although we still have Christians who hold on to tradition, those who embraced Christianity somehow went to church and went to school. Those who did not go to school, and so they hold on to culture. It has been a long walk. So it began with the Christians before the law came into place. The missionaries who came talked about against FGM. There are some people who abandoned. Then along the way, our former president Moi also, I think 1982, something like that, said there should be no FGM, and some people embraced it. Then we had the Children's Act, which now we have put in the Anti-Female Genital Mutilation Act to take care of women after 18, or when you're having a baby, you're circumcised. This one really is like to cover you throughout your life as a woman. So lack of awareness of the dangers that, as I said earlier, people are not able to see the dangers they are going through today, or the challenges, problems they go through as women while having babies, or just in relating, they are not able to talk the untalkables. I tell you, if you talk to them, they will tell you the problems they have when they are with their family, with their husbands, But they are not able to relate that to FGM. They just think this one makes you married. But I want to tell, they need to change their perceptions, their missions. What do they want to achieve in life? Sincerely, these Maasai women who have just gone on abandonment, what dreams do they have about their daughters? Just getting circumcised and getting married? When people are going for the skies, what are they aiming at? And this is because of lack of knowledge. And I want to congratulate the leaders from the Maasai community who actually declared that FGM has to be abandoned, because if they are able to, they are marching, and that's the same place where a girl died. It's because they have not understood that it can cause death.
Yeah.
The dangers of FGM, I mean, the dangers, some of the fruits of FGM is death.
Is death. And Mheshimiwa, one of the reasons you're passionate about this is because you went through the same. Would you talk to us about your story?
Mine is running away from FGM. And every time I see girls running away, I recall, and always tears just flow extremely, freely, because I imagine you are running nowhere. You have a dream that you want to fulfill. You have heard stories. There is thirst in you for something because you have heard. You know, story sells. And when you hear what other successful people who have not undergone female genital mutilation, there is a desire that is generated in you. And that is what was generated in me. When I heard that there are Luo ladies who are not circumcised, they are educated, they drive cars, I got a desire that I want to be one of them. I want to be able to drive a car. I want to be educated. So these are what informed me to defy the culture of being circumcised. And it wasn't easy saying no, moving from the known to the unknown. But definitely I knew that if only I could get education, I will have a better life than what I have seen my parents go through, or my mother per se. And what saddened me was after circumcision, and exactly like what you've seen these Maasai ladies talk about, and their complaint is girls are not getting circumcised, they are at home. I saw that in my primary school, class 1 up to 4, that in the evening these girls are eloped because they had been circumcised, ready to become wives. I didn't want just to be picked by any man along the way and become their wives. So when I look at all this, and I saw an escape route as being uncircumcised, then I wanted to remain exactly that, so that I can escape from just being picked along the road by any man to become a wife, even when you're not ready to become one. There is a lot that needs to be done for these women. That is just ignorance.
Ignorance, but also we've seen some of the leaders, you've praised them for those who supported the banning of FGM, but there are those who are said to be undermining the fight. There could be leaders behind this kind of protest that we are seeing. And these are the people that are with these women, with these elderly men, and those pro the practice. They're with them every day and are perhaps influencing. They're now very spirited calls to have it legalized. What do you say about
Sophia,
that?
I've been a politician, and there is always competition in politics. And many politicians also fear going against the cultural norms of the community, lest they lose their votes. And I do believe that there is leadership competition amongst the Maasai, those who want to endear themselves to the population, and those who still want to endear themselves to them, but also point them to the correct direction to where you're going. I have had the same experience in my community in Marakwet. You will find that most of those who opposed the prohibition of FGM are my opponents, because they want to say it's like, just like all life, there is always pro and those who are against. So you will find that some people, for example, were arrested, then my opponent will go and release them on bond. Then they'll come and campaign and say, you see, she's telling you to stop your culture, or the cut. And I tell you, those are selfish leaders. You will find the same leaders are not circumcising their daughters, but because they want to rule over people. They want to tell people clap when they don't know why they are clapping for them, which is very unfair. If we have to be really open, if we have to care about one another, to be our brothers' keepers, then all of us must be able to point the wrong, that we must be able to point to what is that which is holding us back. Yes.
Okay, talk to us about the work you're doing at the Kenya's anti-FGM parastatal, because clearly your challenge has just been upped, you know, with people calling for it to be back, to come back as a practice that is accepted. What have you been doing? Have you been able to rescue girls who are, you know, supposed to undergo this process?
The board may not have rescued, but I want to thank those who have been co-workers with the government in sensitizing communities against female genital mutilation. These are the civil society organizations, CBOs, NGOs. We have the likes of the UNICEF or the UNFPA. We have ActionAid. We have AMREF. In fact, it's so shameful that the other day, some part of Kajiado people were declaring free, you know, no to FGM, where we had alternative right of passage, and our first lady was the guest of honor, and we have this other. So we have those who have embraced and those who have not. As a board, we came into being December last year when the president announced me as the chair. What has happened is that we have been going out to communities, sensitizing them on the dangers of FGM. We may not have rescued one girl as yet, but we know that there is one girl who, when the cousin died, that case of one who died in Kajiado, we went as a board and visited her where she is now at the SDA Rescue Center. And we've been keeping in touch, and we've got some friends from Germany who saw what was happening in YouTube that day. They saw us at the court, and they offered. There's a lady who offered to educate her throughout. And we've been to several parts of this country. The other week we were in Kilgoris. So I know the rescue time we may not have done as the board, but we don't operate alone. We operate through the former structures of the provincial administration. So we know that maybe somewhere a county commissioner has rescued, or a district commissioner or a chief has rescued a girl, like what you saw happening in Narok, where the district commissioner went to a place where the chief had just circumcised his daughters as such. So that is what could have happened. We don't work alone. We're just that we're the head office, but we work with the structures that do exist in our country. Mostly what we are working at is getting communities to understand the dangers of FGM and come up with alternative ways of educating their girls. You could hear one of the complaints they were saying, the mzee was saying no one is talking to them, I think, like the education they get in seclusion. And we are saying we can give them education in seclusion, and we are encouraging communities to come up with alternative rites of passage from childhood to adulthood. So if you are teaching them in seclusion, teach them without the cut. Have your ceremonies without their cut. But definitely these people are looking at cows, because I understand in the Maasai community, the morning you're to be circumcised, the bull to be eaten in your ceremony comes from a husband. And that is why it rotates around marriageability. Because people are saying cows. We have a sad incident somewhere in West Pokot where a man did not have cows. Maybe cattle rustling, or I don't know how he lost his animals, or he didn't just have them, or to the drought. And so he had only one girl. He considers himself maybe unlucky just to have boys or something like that. So among the last of the children was a girl, and he kept on hoping, you know, very soon. And so by the time the girl was just 10 years, he had to circumcise her even before time, you know, before she grows, because he was looking for cows. And we were told this, that immediately after she circumcised, somebody in the periphery, there was a man. By the way, they circumcise you when they know there's a man already ready, waiting for you.
Take the lady.
To come and take the lady. So as a board, we are still very thin. We're still very few. We've not yet been fully established. We have got a very thin secretariat, and we have been partnering with other people who campaign against FGM, or law enforcement officers, like the Office of the Public Prosecutor. We've been going around. He set up a team of about 20 officers, and they went out to sensitize people about the Prohibition of FGM Act and early marriage, amongst others, which they address. Okay. So we've been going out with them also and say, yes, when they talk on about our bill, we say, yeah, here it is, and these are the consequences, and these are the dangers also of FGM. We also have to tell them the dangers.
Yeah.
But changing culture takes time.
It does take time, and there's quite a number of challenges in as far as this war against FGM is concerned. And that is why, even as you're a young parastatal having come into place, still have a long way to go. And as far as the issues and challenges have been raised in the past, there's a question of prosecution.
Yes.
That has, for the perpetrators, those doing these things, the women that conduct these exercises, some instances it has been said there was no evidence. How do you then have evidence to prove that this is the one who did this to this one? Some of the cases that a reporter was reading about, the police just reporting on their strides in as far as this is concerned. Other issues that have come about is that some girls are too young; they don't even know it's illegal. So it happens, and they think this is just the way things are and things work. So how is it that you plan to come and tackle some of these challenges then, in as far as ensuring that it is very clear it's an illegal practice, no matter what happens, it's not going to be reversed, and that prosecution as well, people see the offenders, the ones conducting these exercises, are brought to justice?
First of all, circumcisers are not people who are people who are known, and they are held with high esteem in the communities.
Right.
And so one of the ways we're going to do is to target the circumcisers and train them. We have circumcisers who actually, after being trained on, after being shown the dangers of FGM, what they're exposing these women, they're able to see, yes, they are actually circumcisers. They're the ones also who help sometimes deliver traditional birth attendants. And we have some who campaign against FGM now, saying they will never do it again. They're sorry for what they did before. One of the activities or functions of the board is to get programs, to make programs for the various communities, because they do for various reasons. And one of our entry points will be through the education. And that's why in the board you'll find one of the directors is the principal secretary of education, because we need to design programs to target them in school. Because if the girl can say no, if they can understand FGM right from the start, especially the lower primary, by the time they reach from the upper primary, they're able to say no to FGM. We want FGM to be spoken just like any other topic that anybody can talk about, the dangers of FGM. And we appreciate it was something that used to be done, but now it is illegal in our country. So we want to target the school. Then we are going to talk to the circumcisers, and we will use the chiefs, because they know the people in their locality, in their location, So they will be able to call them. And some we are actually waiting. Maybe anytime now you'll hear we had a meeting with the chiefs, because with the circumcisers. When we went round with the officers from the DPP's office, we were targeting the chiefs, the law enforcers. As I told you, we work through the former provincial administration structures. We talk to them and we gave them copies. You'll find that we've been giving out copies to this so that they understand their mandate according to the Prohibition of FGM Act. Then we intend to talk to the circumcisers so that they can also abandon this. Now we have a new frontier that we are yet to start to target the men. And that's why at some point I said, we need to defreeze the demand of circumcised ladies by the men marrying uncircumcised ladies. You can see that the Maasai women were demonstrating because of demand and supply. It means that they were not supplying the demand for circumcised women. They were not meeting that target.
So if the men can support
this. So this is something that we are still working out on a strategy to target the men. And we do have, UNICEF have some Morans in Samburu who have said no to FGM. So we have started targeting the men so that they say they can marry uncircumcised girls.
Okay.
Yeah.
So definitely a multi-pronged approach that will be required to be able to deal with this cultural practice. As we've said, unfortunate that in the past we've seen it lead to deaths. It's painful when you think about the psychological, mess it puts these girls through again as well.
Let me just put it to you, even just to deaths.
Yeah.
On 23rd, we had a function with the West Pokot members of the county assembly.
Right.
And they came with results, so just what happened at their hospital, that between March and April, they had 114 women going to have babies in the hospital. Out of the 114, 7 died.
Wow.
Yeah, all because of complication of FGM. It's because people are not able to relate to the challenges they are having, their problems, to something that happened to them 10, 20 years ago. They think it's normal. Most women, fistula, we just marked the fistula day, on 28th of May was the World Fistula, 23rd. It was 23rd of May is normally the World Fistula Day. And you will find still from these communities women who suffer fistula because of complications. During labor.
Okay. So it's definitely one that we'll continue to watch as you fight that war. We wish you the very best. Jebii Kilimo, board chair of Kenya's anti-FGM parastatal, with us in studio. Asante sana, and all the best with all of your work.
Thank you so much.
And we thank you for watching Morning Express today. Great show it has been, with all of your sentiments and thoughts, tweets especially that I'm looking at now from our earlier as well conversation on what we're talking about, the various issues we've been covering, the big stories of the past week. We thank you for watching. And John Judge just saying more awareness needs to be done to educate the pro-FGM campaigners about cons on the practice. And that is one of the things that Jebii Kilimo and those she's working with are hoping to do. Thank you for watching. Tomorrow is Thursday. We'll see you. Kenya at 50 conversation will be on, and of course so many more other great discussions we'll have for you. Have a lovely Wednesday.